With commentary and analysis on our hometown teams, this is the Bucky and Sully Show. Presented by Dave's Christmas Wonderland. 2 locations, Union Road, Cheektowaga, and Transit Road, Williamsville. Now, from the WBBZ-TV studio, here are Buffalo News sports columnists Bucky Gleason and Jerry Sullivan.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bucky and Sully Show. I'm Bucky Gleason. I'm here with Jerry Sullivan, of course. Just to let you know, in the second segment, we're going to have Mike Russo on from the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. He'll be bringing us up to date on the Wild Series and the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's one of the great writers out there. I'm sure Sully will ask him some questions about Thomas Vanek.
I might ask him one question.
But hey, let's get right into it. First of all, the news this week is really about the schedule. You have the draft coming up, but the Bills' schedule comes out, Sully, and you have somehow concluded and made predictions on games that are months away with the score in there.
Yeah, and a lot of people think it's stupid. Even I admit it's kind of silly, but it's not that much more silly than doing it the day before the game. I mean, predicting football is crazy. It's just a fun vehicle to get the schedule out there. And I picked him 9-7, Buck. You would have thought I picked him 1-15. The people in this town, so many fans, and they're fans, fanatics. That's great, but they're just assuming 10 wins.
Why didn't you go 16-0?
Automatic. Yeah, it would have been fun.
Well, last year you picked him at what, 4-12?
No, actually it was 6-10. I went back and looked at it, and you know what? There's a couple of games they could have easily been 6-10.
Absolutely.
Of course, they were lucky to win a couple of games. I thought they were lucky to be 9-7. I mean, they wouldn't have beaten the Pats in the finale if they needed the game. Minnesota game they tried to lose.
Detroit.
And like every team they played for the first month and a half lost their star offensive players. So fine. You know how I feel about this defense. And I can't see them being as good next year defensively, even with Rex Ryan, who's really good at defending Brady. It's just, they're going to be between 2 years ago and last year. And I know I'm rambling. I was surprised they gave up 389 points 2 years ago. It's a lot of points for a team that set a team record in sacks. They were really not that good 2 years ago. So I think people are assuming too much about the defense, and they don't have the quarterback.
I actually liked their defense, liked them last year, liked them more than you did, for sure.
I mean, what do we have? Like the Bills' defense. Boy, that's really going out on a limb. I'm saying that people love them.
I told you last year, you want to get into it. I told you last year it was one of the top defenses in the league.
Well,
and you sat there and, it's my turn, buddy boy. You're going off about how they're not that good. And then at the end of the year, if you want to pull up the tape, we will. Where you had to actually admit, you know what, this defense is pretty good.
And then they lost to Oakland, all right? And then I came back later and said, it figures. As soon as I give it up to the defense, they go and lose to Chad Carr and 6 running backs who hadn't had a yard in a year, and they all go off. And they pulled their usual Bills defensive effort in Oakland, but people are going to conveniently forget that, and the fact that Marcel Darius probably won't play the first 2 games against 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. But I'm sorry, I'm taking your time here.
No, you're not, really.
Well, tell us more how you like. What else do you like? Christmas?
Yeah, I like Christmas. This is a fun holiday. Sure. I like my birthday.
You like your wife?
I'm starting to dislike you. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you don't have to like me.
Well, I'd be, I think, in the majority around here.
Just pay off the bets that you lose.
Yeah, in pennies. All right. Listen, let's talk about the schedule. To me, it's a pretty rough start, obviously. I mean, you have Indy coming in here, and then New England coming in here. I actually, when I look at the schedule, I didn't break it down the way you did, game by game and all that stuff, but it doesn't take much for me to get to 5 or 6 wins. It's about squeezing out the other 4. Can you find another? Because I think I have them winning 10 games next year. And that's a bet. We'll get. Can you? Where do you find those other wins? And I think New England is one of them to me at home. I think they're going to split with New England next year. Well, but it's a tough. You're going to find out pretty quick, Sully, with Indianapolis coming in here. And their offense and that team, it's a tough test early.
Well, when they're like 2-23 against a team or whatever they are against New England, I just try to err on the side of caution and picking them against that team that won the Super Bowl last year. But you know what? I'm sure there's some upset fans. There was somebody in Buffalo, actually, some college guys did a study of the schedule. Mm-hmm. This was a big deal, and they determined that the most unfair of all was the Bills schedule relative to teams with time off. So what happens New England right off the bat comes to Buffalo with 10 days rest, right? They start, don't they open on Thursday?
Yep,
right
against
off the bat, it's
Pittsburgh.
like, here, Buffalo, well, we're going to give the champs 10 days for you.
So the league is now, it's a conspiracy against Buffalo. I know what you're talking about. It's the guys from UB,
Yeah.
which took a lot of work, I would think, and it was amazing to study. But I'm not going to dive into this whole conspiracy that the league is out to get Buffalo or that the Bills are always at some disadvantage. Every single team in the league faces stuff like this. You know, yes, New England gets 10 days rest and it gives Belichick more time to prepare, but you're also preparing for Rex and a new team. So it's not like he's preparing for Rex coaching the Jets or even just the Bills under Marone. It's a slightly different twist. I don't know if you give any advantage to the Bills on that either, but it is what that is how it is set up. And then at Miami, which is never an easy game. I mean, it's tough.
How do you pick them in Miami? I mean,
I'm going to pick them in Miami right
down
now.
there last year, and another game they really needed. The game, I mean, they had a nice year last year. They won 9 games. There were some moments where they really needed the game to prove something. Oh, the game here against the Pats, for instance, where Brady lit them up, that great defense. And
Yes,
that
he
Miami game, they go on a Thursday night down there, and they really didn't show up. And they made Tannehill play the best game he's ever played against them.
Yeah.
I could
It
never,
might have
I
been the
never
only
pick him
good
in
game
Miami.
that he's ever played against them, by the way.
But maybe he'll go back to being terrible. They've got Dominican Sue. I think that's going to be a tough game. I picked him to start 0-3, which people are killing me for, and then win 9 of the last 13. I think I'm being pretty nice to him. They've got to win 5 out of 6 in weeks 4 through 9, where it gets pretty easy right before they go on the road a ton. They've got to really make a lot of hay in the middle of the schedule when it's not very tough.
Well, that's where it is. And what you're talking about, when you look at the Giants at Tennessee, Bengals, and then Jacksonville in London, going into the bye. Then you're coming out of the bye, and you have Miami at home, which, it doesn't seem overly difficult. And then it gets really tough again because you're on the road. That's that stretch of 5 road games in 6 weeks, which is not easy, at the Jets, which will be a fun game. By the way, 2 primetime games there, back-to-back, at the Jets at New England. What'd you make of that? Other than the fact that you're going to be on deadline and hating life.
Yeah, I thought the league would spread it out and make more of the Rex Ryan going against his old team and the team he wants to beat the most. They're kind of jamming them together. And I thought they might actually get a third one because of the Rex thing. Maybe we overestimated how much they want the Bills on national TV just because of their coach. They put teams on national TV for one main reason: they have quarterbacks. I don't think they're in any hurry to put E.J. Manuel or Castle on national games just because Rex is roaming the sidelines and is a good quote.
Rex helps sell the game. I don't know that anybody goes to a Bills game or any other game in any sport to watch the coach. So I agree with you there.
But they might be capping tickets, so they're going for something.
But you look at the impact that he's had, but that's the kind of things that guys like Rex Ryan do in Buffalo. Any kind of connection to the big time or a national scale, people they jump on board, they don't think twice, and that's what's happened here. So I'm actually a little surprised that they didn't get another game, in part because of Rex.
Yeah, I know. I love the schedule. Don't get me wrong. I think they're win 9, sorry. But NFC East, to me, elevates the magnitude of the schedule just because it's the NFC East. It's the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles game. How about that one?
And that's at Philadelphia.
That's meaningful.
And
at
it's
Philly.
at Washington, which is a tough. See, this is where I have an easy time getting to, 5-6 wins. It's the other, it's the other 4 or 5 that I have a hard time getting to. But I look at, games like Houston, Philadelphia. Who knows what's going to happen with that? That guy's Chip Kelly's either going to be brilliant or he's going to get fired. And then Washington, they haven't shown much. So, and then finishing the season at home with back-to-back games, Dallas, you don't know what they're going to look like, but I certainly like them in the season finale against the Jets. Unlike last year, when you looked at the end of the schedule, they had to win all their games early or they were going to be in trouble. And then because they had Green Bay, which I know they beat, but they had New England, they had a couple of losses in there. Or games that look like
How
losses.
about putting the Jets at the end? They've played the Jets in the finale many times. It falls that way, I guess. But you think anyone in the schedule making room is thinking, how about Rex needing to beat the Jets to get in the playoffs?
Yeah,
First time in 15 years.
At home.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Sully, I know we have the draft coming up. I just want to get your brief thoughts on the draft. The Bills, they don't have a first-round pick, so that takes a lot of the zip out of it. But I know you have some homework.
And I don't think they're going to trade up. My brief thought, and I remember looking this up last year, whenever, 2 years ago, the new coach always seems to draft to his side of the ball. I got a feeling they're going defense with pick number 50.
All right. That's interesting. We need to take a break.
To help that overrated defense.
Go ahead. Go sit there and run your mouth. We'll see what happens.
The defense you like.
I like the defense. What do you want me to do? Say I'm madly in love, I'm smitten with the defense, and you send Rex Ryan roses because he's the defensive coach? And give me a break, Sully. Let's get to the trivia question. The Bucky and Sully Stumper, as they call it. When the Buffalo Sabres dealt Chris Stewart to Minnesota, he became the 5th former Buffalo player on the Wild's roster. Which player was never the Sabres' property? We'll have the answer right after the break.
That's easy.